Do you feel like you have, or do you know yet? Do you have everybody tomorrow?
I'm not sure yet. Some guys are still banged up. I think Jalen went through a little bit today, but we'll see how he feels and reacts from that. Tari as well got some work in, so we'll see how those two feel. But everybody else will be back.
How valuable would it be to have one last dry run if everybody's available?
Yeah, I think it's a big game for us as far as having everybody available and also kind of getting to what we really want to do during the season. More specific on the team and personnel, whereas we've used the 4 games before that to kind of work on some things and see what guys do well and what they don't do well. So this one will be more realistic as far as lineups, rotations, and schemes and game plan.
Coach, both games in San Antonio, your team was significantly better in the second half. What does that say about their ability to retain that halftime information?
Yeah, I mean, we bounced back well. Even in the first half, I think it was really the starts, first half of the first quarter, and you like to not get down in those. I think our attention to detail wasn't the best. Our physicality wasn't the best to start, and then we got ourselves in the hole and started to guard better. But I don't know if it's as much halftime adjustments or just guys kind of found themselves in the hole and started to do what we were trying to do initially, and so. They showed that they're a group of fighters, and I think our second and third unit brought in energy, and then the first unit came back in and were better in their second stint.
Did you go over any film today, and if so, what were some of the major takeaways?
Yeah, we did. We talked about our switching on and off ball. We're a team. We talked about how different teams present different challenges. Indiana was slipping out a lot of pick and rolls early, and so we kind of worked on that as we went. A team like New Orleans is very isolation based, and so we guarded that well. And a team like San Antonio, a lot of movement, a lot of off-ball slipping, which hurt us. And so both games had a good amount of clips to show for guys, and then we got a chance to walk over today.
When you do those film sessions, do you do it as a group, and then maybe break apart individually, or is it kind of individual guys? Hey, focus on this. You're focusing on this. How does that kind of function?
Myself, we do it as a group in front of the whole team. The coaches are constantly doing that daily with guys from game to game, and then leading up into the season, we'll kind of define some roles and go over a compilation of film for individual guys.
What have you seen from Nate Williams? He seems to add this burst of energy off the bench.
Yeah, he's a pretty natural, fluid scorer.
Yeah.
He's a guy that played well in the G League last year and had a good stint at the end of the year with Portland. So we kind of knew what we had. He had a good summer here with us as well. Mm-hmm. So a guy that gives us a burst that we feel could play with many different lineups. And when he's come in, he's been one of the better guys with our second and third unit.
On the subject of the off-ball switching, and just off-ball movement that the Spurs and Heat do, is this a good test of being able to take from video to court, maybe as good a test as you've had so far? Because, as you said, the other teams are all so different from one another.
Yeah, I think it is, and we talked about it today. Every team has a different challenge, and we've done okay in certain areas, but the off-ball movement hurt us, and that's lack of communication and just, guys being presented something new and only working on it for 2 weeks or so. And so we've gotten better, like you mentioned, half to half, but we want to get off to better starts. And like I said, attention to detail, personnel based, not giving Vassell those open shots early. And tomorrow that'll be Robinson and Hero and guys like that. So having to adjust to personnel, but also the movement and the things they do differently will present some challenges.
So I asked Dylan this, but is the solution to getting better communication on that just put two veterans with good voices back in the starting lineup, or is it more than that?
I mean, that's a part of it. Experience definitely helps, but even with that, we're asking some guys to do more switching than they've done in the past. So a guy like Dylan, who usually locks in on a matchup, stays with his man off ball, gets through pick and rolls. We're asking him to talk a little bit more and be more of a team defender than individual defender at times. So it works both ways, but the veterans are usually obviously much more further ahead than the young guys.
When you started your career as a player, preseason was 1 week longer than it is now. As a coach, do you think, damn, I want that week back, or nah, we're good?
No, I think you get enough of what you need in 4 or 5 games, and the time that we have. Back then we were 2-a-days all day and a bunch more games, so you had more opportunity as a player. But for us, I think after 5 games, we see enough and ready to get to the regular season.
How confident are you in running lineups at times that might have 2 or sometimes 3 players that the opposing team might scout or quantify as non-shooters on the floor?
Yeah, it's something that we're obviously trying to improve on, is our shooting from last year and just putting guys in the right position. So we're learning what works for certain guys and what sets we can run with certain guys, and I think that's what the preseason was for. We kind of put a holistic approach out there offensively and defensively and seeing what guys do and how they react well to certain things. But we do got to get more specific with guys and how teams are going to guard them for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.